Hello, welcome to sCreations. Now today I've been, as you know what I'm like, I've been trying to think what can I do this week, and this is something I've been talking about for a while. I don't know if any of you recognise this sort of netting. It's what comes off of potato sacks. Sometimes it'll be oranges, but it's plastic, and I've often thought that it would make a good rough side of a cleaning sponge. And then strangely enough, I saw a video where someone made one. Someone obviously had the same idea. So I'm going to give it a go today. Let's see how we get on. I don't think it'd be too hard. I'm assuming I've just got to make some shapes, but I'll probably do square and several layers of this, and I need some foam and I need some other fabric, maybe toweling, something like that. Put it together and hopefully I'll have a washing up sponge. So let's see how I get on. I've got to search for my fabric and then I'll back with you. Okay, as you can see, I've cut my sponge. I think that should be thick enough. I've cut a piece of toweling. This is from an old towel, which I think for the use of it, it's perfect. I mean, if I was selling these or something, I'd make them a little bit prettier, because people like to buy to match their kitchen and things like that. But this is just for me, so I'm using what I have, and I've cut 2 pieces of the netting bag. So what I'm going to do, I've made the sponge slightly smaller because then it's less thickness to have to sew through. So I'm going to spray glue this to the centre. I know the glue won't last forever, but it's literally for just while I'm sewing, just to hold it in place. Then once it's sewn and it's all together, I'll put a few stitches across just to hold it in place. So like a quilting, I'll probably put some stitches on like that. So right, let's glue this. So I've never done this, you know what I'm like. So this is all experimental. So let's put that in place. So I've used two layers in the hope that it will last a bit longer. It doesn't feel that rough at the minute, but I think it'll be good for things like non-stick pans and that, because it won't scratch them, but it'll be enough to just you know, lift it off a little bit. Right, pins. I think because the plastic is slippery, my clips probably wouldn't work. So we'll go through the sponge. I'm allowing about a centimetre in the seam, as I usually do. What you're dealing with is slippery plastic, and it's going to keep moving on me. Just put that in the centre. There we go. Okay, so it's all in place now. Just pray that it sews okay. Yep, I'll leave one end open to turn it back the other way, and then we'll top stitch all round to hold it all in place. What I think is stitch as close to the foam as I can. Nearly forgot to leave the end open. I think I'm just going to trim the edges off to tidy that up a little bit and make it less bulky when I turn it the other way. And I suppose if you wanted to, you don't have to turn it inside out. You could just leave it like this. It's for washing up after all, but that's just me. I realised once I started sewing that I made an error, but looking at it now, I don't see why it can't just stay like that. It doesn't matter that it's got raw edges for what it's for, but I will make another one and turn it inside out and just see what I think, whether that one looks better. There we go. So I've got a scourer that side and the towel in that side. So I think that should work quite well. So you can obviously double it over for smaller areas, or just like that. And I think that will be okay. And it's not gone to landfill. So I'm going to try another one. I'm going to do it the other way around. What I'll do, I'll put the the mesh on the towel inside so that when it turns over it'll be against the right side. Obviously, okay, you won't know this off camera, but as I say, with this one I left it that way round, and I think that's perfectly fine for what it's going to be used for. As I say, I've top stitched, as you can see, like quilting, just to hold the sponge and the mesh and everything in place, and I think that's perfectly fine. When I went to go and get some more, or look at the mesh that I had left, I hadn't got quite enough, so I had to go downstairs and empty one of my potato sacks. And it's a slightly different mesh, but it doesn't matter at all really, so I've put two different meshes together. I hadn't got any sponge, but as you know, I like to use what I've got in my sewing room, and I had some quilting wadding, and obviously again the toweling that I used on the other one. I'm now going to, I'm not going to worry about the gluing, I think I will just pin it. See, these things, you change your mind as you go along, and you just work with what's best for you. So I've got a pin just holding that in place, then I'll stitch 3 sides as I said before. And this time I've got the net against the towel inside. Let's see how it goes across the wadding. Should be fine. Get my pokey tool, or one of my encouraging tools, not my pokey tool, my encouraging tool. That's it. This is a little bit, this is fluffy, the wadding. Okay, lesson learnt. Using wadding is definitely a lot more fiddly than using foam, because it obviously it flakes and breaks up and everything. But we use what we've got. Let's just tidy those seams up. Let's turn it the other way. Okay, I've tucked the ends in, I've pinned it, and now we're going to stitch, or top stitch, as in like quilting, all the way around. As I say, comparing the two, this is a much simpler way to do it, but I'm not going to waste my materials, so let's get on with this and top stitch it. It's definitely not as tidy, this one, but I'm going to carry on. There we go, 2 perfectly usable sponges, but for you, for future reference, use foam. It's so much easier. The wadding works, once it's together, it's going to work in the same way, but it's just that bit, because it's fluffy, it just makes the sewing a little bit more difficult. And yeah, but other than that, it's all fine. This one just to me looks more like a shop bought one, it just comes out so much tidier. But I can still wash up with them, so that is not a problem. Okay, enjoy!